Hi, guys. Welcome to the talk show where people discuss issues from the real sense of it, where we do not pretend to be what we're not, and where we discuss and have hard conversations that people really don't like talking to. Welcome to EX-HALE Online with Poavi. It's been a very wonderful midweek, and welcome to another Wednesday edition of EX-HALE Online, where we're putting together the pieces of breaking unhealthy sexual patterns. And I hope that so far, for those of you who've been watching, I hope you've been taking it seriously. I hope you've been putting to practice some of these steps that we've been taking. And in case you missed on Sunday, like I said, I had to take a rebroadcast, but I hope you were able to grab all the points. But for someone who did not, just so that you can catch up, I'll run a brief recap. Number one, we talked about acknowledging the fact that it's a problem. And I said, stop pretending that it's a problem. Stop pretending that you do not know that these patterns are unhealthy. Stop pretending that you do not know that these patterns have very, very grave and unhealthy consequences for you. Stop pretending, period. Acknowledge it. Embrace the fact that this is an issue and it needs to stop. It needs to be broken. And I said, if you can find someone to, open up to, because a secret, that is concealed. Remember, we talked about, when we talked at the beginning, we said most of these unhealthy patterns are done in the secret. And because they are done in the secret, oftentimes you find yourself, in a place where, you could keep doing it over and over again because nobody knows. Nobody can see you because it's done behind closed doors, in the dark, somewhere hidden and all that. But the moment you have made up your mind that it's time to let go, it's time to break that pattern, one of the easiest ways to start acknowledging it is by calling someone. Remember, I said someone trusted. I always say I run to God, and I always tell God, look, I need help in this. And because he's my trusted friend, because the moment I open my mouth and I talk to God about it, it makes me feel accountable to him, because I know that if I tell him, he is going to make sure that I am in check. He does that by my conscience, by, the things that come up in my mind. But for those of you who do not really believe in the God factor checking you out, like I said, you might want to run to your parents, young adults, because remember, this particular episode and series are for the young adults. I'm coming for the married very soon. So, but I said run to your parents, and I said the most trusted people you should run to as children are your parents. Those are the people you will find protection, covering, except if the parent is a very wicked parent, or a parent who, has other issues they're dealing with in their lives that, they don't even know who they are. Because if they know that job as a parent, their job is to listen to their child, shield their child, and guide their child. And I said, if you feel that your parents are not the type that would, help, rather they will begin to judge you and criticize you and probably, begin to make your life uncomfortable. I said you may find an older sibling that has your time and is willing to listen to you and help you, or a very, and I stress that word, very strong and loyal friend that has passed all the tests of friendship, right? If not, find a mentor, find an adult that you look up to, someone you respect. If possible, see a therapist, just someone that you can open up to and tell them that this is the issue I am having. I've acknowledged that it's a problem, and I've acknowledged that it's time for me to stop that thing. And the second thing we talked about is heal from the roots, right? Don't just heal the fruit. Like I said, I used the illustration of a mango tree. I said the moment you have a mango tree and all you're doing is dealing with the roots, plucking out the roots, because the fruits, because you feel the fruits are the problem of the tree, and you do not do, guess what? It's going to come back again, because the tree has a root. If you cut the stems and the branches, and say you're pruning, it only makes a bigger tree, and another tree, a bigger tree that bears more fruits. Why? Because it has a root. So what is that root? Identify the root. When you identify the root, deal with the root. And oftentimes, like I said, the root cause is usually a trauma. It's not the sexual pattern, it's not the sexual behavior. There is usually a wound that is underneath that pattern, and that wound is what gives birth to that pattern. So heal the wound and deal with it from the root, not just from the fruit side of it. And we started talking about, I talked about replace. I said, don't just replace it. Don't just replace these habits. Resist the habit, or rather, don't just resist the habit, replace them. Because, you know, oftentimes we always tell ourselves that, you know what, I made up my mind, I'm going to stop this. I'm going to stop this. But you know what, when my friends come, I'm going to tell them no. That's trying to resist. Does it mean that you have replaced the habit? No, it does not. So the easiest way to go about it is to find something else. Replace those habits with better habits. Replace those places you go with new places. Replace those things you do when you're alone with other habits. You know, take out the bad, bring in the new. And I remember using Ephesians chapter 4 verse 22 to 24, where it says, you know, taking off the old and, you know, putting on a new self. And I told you, I said, whatever you do not want to see, whatever it is you're trying to break away from, whether it's porn, whether it's masturbation, whether it's the clubbing and going to sexual places or places that trigger that sexual pattern, cut them off. And if there are friends, it could be friends, it could be classmates, it could be siblings, avoid them. Replace them with godly company. Replace them with people who would aid you to live right. People who would help you to bring out healthier patterns for your life. And I always tell people, you know, oftentimes we always believe that, you know, it's hard to cut off family. If you have family members, cousins, relations, uncle, aunts, or so that, you know, probably they're molesting you or something, you know, you might want to get out of that environment. Talk to a parent, talk to someone who will listen to you and tell them you want to leave that environment because this environment, this is what it's doing to you. And do not be afraid to speak out. Trust me, do not be afraid to speak out, because sometimes, you know, the only way you can get help is to speak out. And, you know, I know people say, I don't want to talk about it because there's the shame. But guess what? What you announce first, you know, for me, the confession breaks the shame, right? It destroys the shame in it because they heard it from you. So what are they going to say when you've already said it? I had struggles with this. It's a struggle, but I'm trying to do better. Right? Now, they've heard that from you. So if anybody goes and they say, oh, do you know this person is doing that? Yeah. Person told us it's a struggle. So there's no shame in that. The person is looking for help. So you that you are going around announcing it, you're the one that now has the problem, right? You know what I'm saying? So we're going to talk about number 4. Like I said, flee. Don't flirt. Remember the story of Joseph and Potiphar's wife? You know, the moment she came and she wanted to put him in a place where an unhealthy sexual pattern was going to start, because trust me, if he had slept with her that day, she would keep coming back for more, because already we've done it already, right? So we can keep doing it. So, but you know, what did he do? If you're a Christian, you will know that Joseph fled. He fled so fast that he left his cloth in her hands. You know, I don't know what he was wearing, whether it was a robe, you know, the clothes those days, you know, whatever it was. He left it with her and took off, because he told himself, nope, you're not going to rope me into this unhealthy pattern. You're not going to put me in this sexual path. You're not going to make me sin against God. You're not going to make me sin against your husband. So I'm out. And he fled. But you see, what we always do is we flirt around the situation. Okay, I've stopped drinking, I've stopped having sex, or I am going to be celibate until I get married. But then what do? Every time you want to follow your friends to those places you guys used to go, and tell yourself that for me it's different. I'm not going to look at any guy, or I'm not going to look at any girl, or no, you know what? I'm not going to go on that porn site anymore, or I'm just in the group. I'm not even active in the group. I'm not an active person in the group. my name is just there, and I'm just there because, you know, my friend that put me inside, but I'm not active. But you know that they send porn sites and they send pornography, and yet you engage in it and you allow yourself to be feeding it because you're flirting around that unhealthy sexual pattern. You know what it means to flirt? When you are, you know, I'm not saying yes, but I'm really not saying no either. You know, I am welcoming you at the same time. I'm trying to tell you, I didn't say you should come, but please come, right? I'm enjoying it. So most oftentimes we flirt around those situations. So, you know, sexual temptation is one of the hardest things for you to fight. So it's not something you fight. You don't fight sexual temptations. You flee, right? You flee. You don't dance around. You don't tell yourself, I'm going to be here, and the person is okay, let's just kiss. That's all over. We're just kissing. We're not going to have the real thing. And then you start kissing, and then the person wants to go, no. You're holding the person's hands, but look, already your system is weak. You're already engaging, and then, okay, fine. Just as long as you don't enter. Look, before you know it, you're already there. And it's always like that. Okay, I just want to watch. I mean, I'm not in the group. They just put it there. Okay, let me just click on the link. Let me just see what the link is saying. Before you know it, you want to watch the first scene. Okay, you want to watch the second, first here. Before you know, you're back in that loop again. And, you know, it goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay, you know, it's cold. Maybe if I do it now just to sleep, and then later I will not do it again. You do that masturbation again. You like the feeling. Before you know, you're doing it again and again and again and again and again and again. So you do not fight sexual temptations. You do not fight sexual behaviors. You run from it. You flee from it. Don't even turn and look back. You know what? Anything that's going to make me masturbate, I'm out. Anything that's going to make me go and watch pornography, or you guys want to do it, I'm out. Oh, we're going to the club. What kind of club is it? Oh no, we're just going to go and dance. You go there, you see naked women up and down, you see guys, you know, take off. You know what I'm saying? Don't give yourself a second look. Don't give it a second thought. Don't give it a second breathing, because the moment you do it, trust me, you will be back on the scene again. So like I said, borrow the principle of Joseph. Don't even think twice. Joseph said, you know, for those of us who are Christians, he said, I cannot think of doing this evil against my God and then against your husband, who gave me everything in this kingdom except you, his wife. So I'm not going to do this with you. I don't care how it is. You know, a young guy in this generation would have said, oh, wow, she's the governor's wife. The governor's wife is coming for me. If I get into this habit with her, she's going to pimp me up. She's going to buy me a new car, probably get me a house. I'm going to be living large. I'm going to be living better than my contemporaries. Oh, guess what? Oh, she's going to beef up my account. But you see, Joseph did not think like this. And mind you, for those of you who are saying, oh, he was matured now, Joseph knew what he was doing, go read your Bible very well. Joseph was a teen. He was a teen when his brothers sold him off. He was just a young boy and then, of course, he stayed there for a couple. So don't assume that he was one elderly guy who knew. No, he was a young adult. So, but he was sensible to know that this was a trap. If the moment I allow myself to sleep with this woman, I am already in that trap. So what did he do? He fled without thinking twice. I advise that whenever you find yourself in that situation, flee. Don't even give it a second thought, because it's now be practical about it. Don't deceive yourself, right? And somebody said, okay, I really want to go study about Joseph. I really want to know what he did. Go read Genesis chapter 39, verse 12, right? But be practical about it. Don't even try to wrap yourself around it, right? Uninstall every app that pops up with sexual, but they have apps for that, you know, all those dating sites that will tell you, show off your body parts and everything and all that, so that they can measure you. You know, there's so many weird out apps there that promote pornography, promote masturbation, promote, you know, they have these apps where ladies are there and they're talking sexually to you, and they're aiding you to masturbate, yeah, guys. And then there are apps, I think, for ladies for the same purpose. Now, uninstall those things, because as long, remember, like I said, don't flirt around it, because as long as they are hanging around you, you will visit them one day when you find yourself in that uncompromising atmosphere, once again, that triggers you. So the best thing to do is uninstall it, get rid of it from your phone, you know, change phone habits, you know, tell yourself that, you know what, henceforth, so time to so time, this is what I'll be doing. When I'm alone at night, I am not scrolling. I'm going to be reading a book, or I'm going to be going hiking or something. Just change your phone habits. What do you do with your phone the most? Are you sexting? Are you video sexing? Are you, you know, explicitly doing one thing or the other? Change those habits. Find something godly, find something healthy, find something innovative, find something motivating, find something challenging your destiny, your calling, your person, right? And then finally, like I said, cut off toxic friends that always put you in that atmosphere. Let's have a threesome. Oh no, let's go and do this. Oh, orgies, blah. You know those things this generation sells out there. Cut them off. You don't need those kind of friends. Find friends who will build you. Find friends who will look at your income and tell you, you know what, you know, you can grow this income from this to this. You know, you can invest if you invest in this and this, or you know what, I believe in your calling. If you could only package your calling. I had great friends. I mean, few good friends. I have this very, very dear friend of mine who watches my broadcast, and every time something goes, she would call me and she would tell me, well, I watched, I wanted you to do this because when I was watching, I discovered this. Is it any way you can do this? So she helps. Every time I am online, I am conscious of the things she has said to me. So I am trying my best to put myself together because of that. Now, those are the kind of people you have around, not the one that will call you and tell you, hey, we're having this group call, you need to be on it. It's something you will want. It's something you need. The moment you find yourself in that atmosphere, you are in big trouble. You are in real big trouble. So run away from it, flee from it. Whatever you do, stay away from it. Lastly, for today, accountability and community, right? So James chapter 5 and verse 16 would say, confess your sins one to another and pray for each other that you may be healed. You know, like I said, these days it's hard to find people you could trust, right? But if you could find that very good mentor, somebody that is matured, maybe someone you have listened to their story and they have passed through your struggle and you really need to find a way out, so talk to that person. We have people who coach every day on how to break out of this sexual web, sexual cycles and all that. It's easy, you know, find them. They're online. We have wonderful men and women of God that are online who are doing phenomenal work. You know, Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo. Yeah, there are just so many. So get yourself and find out how to, you know, love right, date right, court right, because often not these things happen during that period. When I'm courting, when I'm dating, when I'm doing that, that's when the challenge, or if you love me, have sex with me or whatever. And then of course when you're going through issues, but if it's a real problem, and you know, there are therapists out there. I always tell people that therapists are not that I'm sick. Going to see a therapist does not mean there's anything mentally wrong with you. It's just a neutral person to just hear what is going on with you, not judge you, and then give you a perspective on how you can be better and heal from it. So find a therapist, find someone. It may not be someone that you have to go online, find and pay. It could be someone, and like I always say, if you really, really, really need someone to talk to and you cannot find that person, please slide into my DM and let's have that conversation. And I promise you, I do not judge, because I have done seen it all. I've done seen it all. I've done heard it all. Trust me. So slide into my DM and let's have that conversation. Let's talk about it and see how we can help you break free. But be accountable, because the moment you're accountable to someone, trust me, it's really it's much easier to be able to, because every time you want to, you just remember that, wait a minute, this person's going to ask me if I was able to do it. And if you are sincere about trying to break the habit, the truth is you will not want to cheat on that. You will not want to go and lie and tell your mentor or the person you're giving accounts to that, look, I didn't do it, when you know you did. Because somebody who really wants change in their life will come out clean. I don't want to lie to you. This is what happened yesterday. I had a relapse. I didn't like it, but I found myself, with someone, and then before I knew it, we were at it again. Or, I found myself in the dark, and before you knew it, I was doing it again. Or, just be transparent, be real with the person you're being mentored by, or being, you're holding yourself accountable to. Because the moment you're more sincere, it shows that you are really eager and desperate for that change. So accountability is very, very important. Once you find somebody that you can be accountable for, trust me, like I said earlier, confession has a way of taking away shame. It no longer, once you have said it, there's no shame anymore. You've already said it. You know what I mean? So do that. And then I'm going to, for those of us who are Christians, I'm going to throw this out there to you. Daily renewal through the Spirit of God. Because like I always tell people, for those of us who are believers, what we do have is the Spirit of God. And the Spirit of God is the one person that I know that I can run to, and I can hear from him when I need help. So I go out and I come clean. I don't try to lie. I don't try to pretend. I don't try to garnish it. I tell him the raw truth. This is what's going on with me. You see it. I need help. And then he shows me where I can find it in the Bible, where I can renew my mind, because it says renewing your mind by the word of God. It has a way of removing the darkness. It has a way of removing that impure thought. It has a way of removing that impure spirit. And it has a way of reading you and making you clean. Now, there are other things that you could do, like I always tell people, don't lie to yourself about what you're going through, because the moment you lie to yourself, already you're on a train wreck. Now, another thing you need to do is set healthy sexual patterns. And now, how do you do that? It's by building, because it starts well. You're tearing down the structure of unhealthy patterns. You're breaking it down. So you have to build something in its place, because as long as the land is vacant, something else will be built there, right? So it's like I always tell people, if you're checking out something from your life, look, you have to be replacing. So like I said, don't just resist, replace. So if we're tearing down unhealthy sexual patterns, we want to build healthy sexual patterns. And one of the things would be try not to avoid bad habits. You just need to cultivate good habits. We try too hard. We beat ourselves up too much about when we do something that we told ourselves we're not going to do again. Don't beat yourself too hard about it. Baby steps, right? Take baby steps. I'm going to do it. And I sinned. Oh my God. I can't believe I did this again. I'm useless. No, don't put that much pressure on yourself. Trust me. Baby steps, one day at a time. And as you keep going day by day, with the help of God as a Christian, with the help of the Holy Spirit, or with the help of your mentor, or with the help of the book you're reading, whatever it is that you are relying on to help you change those patterns, take it one day at a time. Baby steps, one day at a time. Don't try too hard to avoid it. You know, we try too hard. We try too hard. So, but I want to tell you the truth. It's not enough to try to avoid the bad habits. Just replace them with good habits, right? Now, another thing you would want to do is purity. You know, practice purity. It's not the easiest thing in the world. Trust me. I would tell myself, I want to do this, I want to do that, I do that. And, you know, like I always said, once you've been on that road, you have to really stay really hard and really focus to try to tell yourself that do we not get tempted every day? You see that fine guy on the road, you see him in church, you see him in the supermarket, you see him in the market, you see those fine girls everywhere you go. They're everywhere. Social media, some are sliding into your DM. So those temptations are faced every day. But you can help yourself by, number one, like I said, allowing yourself to build in the area of purity by telling yourself, look, I am working on me. Sex is not what I really need at the moment. You remember I told you sex has a way it takes from you. It doesn't really add from you except if you are married, and it's adding that bond for you and that thing called pleasure, you know. But for those of us who are not married and for those who are just dating, trust me, it has a way it takes from you. It doesn't really add, and I'm not gonna lie to you. I've it's not like I've not had it after outside marriage, but I'm telling you the fact, it takes a lot from you. It brings in insecurity, it brings in strife, it brings in so many things. The moment that person is 5 steps away from you, you're wondering, oh, the person tells you, oh, I want to go see my friends. You want to call 5 minutes, you want to call 10 minutes, you want to know what the person is doing, who is that at the background, whose voice am I hearing, why? You're so insecure because, you know, there's a part of you that asks, this thing that I do with her, this thing that I do with him, are they doing it with the other person, or are they doing it with someone else? So it keeps you edgy, it keeps you in a place you don't want to be. So, but when both of you tell yourself, you know what, how about working on us? This relationship, we want to build it on purity. So let's work on ourselves. Let's work on our businesses. Let's work on our careers. Let's work on our spirituality. Let's work on our finances. Let's work on our call and purpose. And the moment the two of you as a couple, you know, focus more energy on that, you find yourself. And then if you are single and you're telling yourself, okay, I want to practice purity, get books that will help you think good thoughts, building thoughts, development thoughts, character development, mental development, physical development, spiritual development, financial development, and center your heart around that rather than scrolling on that site, because before you know it, you are there, you know. So practice purity. Then number 3, set boundaries. Set boundaries, you know. Don't put yourself in that temptation situation or that tempting situation whereby, oh, he said I should come and see him, or we stayed late, or we before you know it, we didn't really mean to, it just kind of happened. It will kind of happen as long as you have not set boundaries. You know what, I go out, but I do not stay in a guy's house past 7. Once it's 7 o'clock, I'm out. No matter what happens, I don't care what we're doing. I don't care what you're cooking for me. I don't care what you're serving me. Once it's 7, I'm out, right? And if that's a boundary you can handle, right? If it's not, sorry, I don't meet guys at home. Can we meet in an open place? Can we meet at can we watch a movie? Can we watch, can we go for a lunch date at the, can we sit at the park? Can we do something, an outdoor activity? Because I don't, why? Just come to my house now. Nothing's going to happen. No, I don't. And if I'm coming, I will come with friends. You know, once they know you have started setting boundaries for yourself, trust me, you will notice that the invitations will be less and less and less, especially if the motive for the person is impure, right? So set boundaries. Don't allow anything that will keep you in that compromising state, even in the chats, because it starts from chatting. Once you chat and you notice that the chat is going in a direction you don't want to go, just tell them, this conversation is going somewhere I don't want. Change conversation. They're sending you pictures of their private, delete it and tell them, dude, I'll block you now. Don't, not me. The moment they notice that you can set boundaries, you know, in the right place, trust me, nobody will want to cross those boundaries with you. But as long as you allow it, as long as the person feels they can touch your breast, as long as the person feels they can touch your bum and get away with it, they will keep doing it. As long as, you know, you feel she can stroke you in so place, she can come and spend the night, they will keep you compromising. So remember what I said, set boundaries for yourself, healthy sexual boundaries that tell yourself, no, this is not it, not for now. I am working on me, I am building me, so this is not permitted. So I'm going to stop here, and hopefully we'll put an end to this particular topic for the young adults on Sunday when we come in. And please, if you've not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go there now. We'll be uploading a lot of videos this week by the grace of God Almighty, and this one will be there. But if you watched and you are blessed, please, even on the Facebook channel, please just click share and let's allow it to go viral. I want you to know that I love you, I believe in you, and I believe God for you, that you will make healthy sexual choices. And as a young adult, I want you to know that there's so much potentials on the inside of you if you look within, and there's so much God wants to do with you and in you and around you. Allow yourself. You don't allow yourself, because one of the easiest ways to distract yourself and turn your face from purpose is by allowing yourself getting in the sexual web. You don't want to do that to yourself. So focus on building you and building healthier sexual patterns for your life. I want you to know that Jesus is coming back very, very soon. When I mean very soon, very, very soon. The signs are glaring there everywhere. Please be prepared. Know that I love you. Be the reason why somebody has a smile on their face and they don't want to take their life. Much love, guys. Bye.